So what are those sounds that I'm making here when I just rest my hand over one of the frets and it makes a different kind of note? They are called harmonics, and that's what we're here to talk about today, and welcome to Music with Marky. There's a few things we can do with harmonics, but today's lesson's for my beginner buddies out there, so we're going to start with the very most basic harmonics, which are what I was just showing there, where you very lightly touch the string, and they happen in a few places across the neck. If you've ever done this thing where you just very lightly rest your finger, say on the lowest string, on the E string, and just pick and move, you can hear that there's a tone that's changing, and over certain frets, it will ring out more and create actual notes. Let's look at what those are as the basic and fundamental harmonics that you can start off with. So the first set is the easiest. It's just the octave over here where there's two dots on the 12th fret. So if you have a standard tuned guitar, from your skinniest string up, it's E, B, G, D, A, E. And those are the same notes that are going to sound with the harmonics. But they have that cool kind of sharper quality to them, if you will, and they're not the exact same note that you would play if you just played it open. This note here is the same as the note if you fretted it, but with that harmonic quality. Now when you move over some of the other frets, they're actually not going to be the same notes as what you would play if you played that fret there. So for instance, on the 7th fret, you would move over here, and I should mention as well that the best way to get these harmonics is to play not in the middle of the fret, but over the fret itself, the metal part on the highest part of the fret. So if we're on the 7th, the beginning of the fret is here, and the end of the fret is here. So you're going to play over the end of the fret, and you're going to touch it as lightly as possible. If you're touching it light enough, you don't even need to remove your finger. It'll keep ringing, but it's better if you touch it and then move off of it. This note here, if you fretted it, would be that B note there, and if you hit the harmonic, it's a higher B note. It's that note there, it's an octave higher. So on the chart, I have numbers next to the letters. They indicate what octave it is from the lowest version of that note on the fretboard. So if it says B2, that's because your lowest B is here, and a whole octave above it, the second octave, is B2. So you have B in the second octave. E jumps all the way to the third octave because you have 1, 2, 3. Then you have A also in the third octave. D in the third octave, F sharp all the way up in the 4th octave. It's a little bit hard to get on an acoustic, a little bit easier with an electric with distortion. That note is all the way up here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4th F sharp, and then finally that really high B there. And then over here on the 5th fret, you again have the same note as what would be the open string, not the fretted note. So it would be the same as that 12th fret one, but over here at the top of the 5th fret, it's a whole octave higher. And they're the same notes then. And one more set of harmonics that I want to show you. They're the same exact ones on two different spots. It'll either be over here on the 4th fret or up here on the 9th fret. And you end up with some cool but much higher notes. Again, a little bit more tough on an acoustic. The first one is G sharp. And that's all the way up here in the 3rd octave. So you have G sharp, C sharp, F sharp. So you can see the notes in the chart there. They're going to be almost impossible to get on an acoustic. You can hear they just kind of clunk. That'll be more of an electric guitar kind of thing. But I do want to make you aware of it, and on the lower strings they're a little easier to hit. So again, we have the octave here, we have the second octave here, we have the ones that are the same as if you fretted the 7th fret, and then you have these odd ones on the 9th and 4th that are the same thing. You can go past the 12th fret too. If you had a 24th fret, you could hit those. And over here on the 17th and 19th, they mimic the 5th and the 7th, but in another octave. Again, not something you would do much on an acoustic guitar. The main thing to remember here is when you're practicing these, it'll get clunky at first. You might get kind of dead notes. Just get very used to touching it lightly and moving away from it and always playing over the metal of the fret there. And so what if you want to play harmonics in different keys? These work really well with open chords because they tend to fit in G, C major, the kind of keys you're playing in when you're playing basic open chords. But if you're starting to get into bar chords and moving around more, well, you get into some more advanced harmonics that involve tapping and plucking, and that's what we're going to do in next week's lesson. So if you want to get into some more involved harmonics, check it out next Thursday. And until then, guys, if you have any questions or comments, let me know below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And until next time, keep making great music. Hey friends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. It makes the whole world better.